If there's anything that you really enjoy that, and you're inspired I have to redo that. There's music right now. Tupac, it's at least Tupac.
We're in Mira Mesa. So.
Yeah, we are mean streets of Mira Mesa. Hey everyone, what's up? This is Gerard of Gerard Loves Life, the YouTube channel, and we're doing the segment Operation Fulfill. We call it Operation Fulfill because the whole movement is to fulfill what you love to do and to fulfill the best that you can be. And I have here my brother over here, Mr. Angelo Reyes, or as some may know him, Angelo Art, Mira Mesa Art, and he's definitely been fulfilling a lot of great things. And I gotten to know the brother. We both are from Mira Mesa, so there's some common ground on that. And if you ever notice, like, all the things I love, if you follow the videos, definitely love all types of art, and he's definitely a great representation of that. And he's definitely been representing the community, building community over here, and also beautifying Mira Mesa. So sorry I'm buttering you up, brother, but thank you so much for taking the time to see me today and just to be a part of this. So yeah, I guess just to kind of start and to kick it off, how long have you've been doing this project for a while, basically creating Mira Mesa into a space where art is embraced, and even the youth are embracing it. I guess what kind of sparked the whole idea? And
when we were younger, we were hanging out in North Park when it was still ugly.
Oh,
and then the art was happening there, and then it was exciting. And at the time I was working at an after-school program because I wanted to be a teacher, and I really liked those kids. And then I noticed some of them walk home, so some of the streets back then looked kind of shady. But if you produce art like nearby those same shady areas, it does the opposite effect. It becomes, yeah. There's this thing called the broken window effect. Like, if there's a broken window, whether it be like a shop or like a car, then progressively things get worse in that area. Like, maybe they'll tag the car or break more windows because it looks like it's unkempt and no one cares about it.
Oh, I see.
But the artwork does the opposite. It does the same thing but opposite.
I kind of see that, yeah. Like, if you see something that was basically, like you said, unkept and not touched for a good while, folks definitely want to cause destruction to that area. But when you see something beautiful, like, for instance, I'm like distracted because there's a lot of beauty like that's surrounding us right now, and thank you for sharing your space today. To me, like, when I go to a museum, when you see artwork or a masterpiece, you just don't want to touch it. You don't want to ruin it, right? So I can see how that makes that effect. So
yeah, it's really interesting. It's like even a really well-made sandcastle, right? It's it's ephemeral, but you don't want to mess with it because you could feel the person's effort in there, right?
That's right, yeah.
If it's good. But if it's just a lump, a mound, yeah, you might kick it. Someone might kick it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, so that's, I guess, whatever that thing is inside people, that's part of it.
That's true. No, you're right, yeah. I'm glad that you pointed that out. I think some people take for granted, like, there was time and effort and a lot of focus, like, put on a piece, and that's sometimes overlooked. So thank you for bringing that up. Personally, if I saw something, it's like, wow, you can tell the artist like put a lot of energy into this. Like, you don't want it to be embellished or like destroy it. So
yeah, for the most part, if there's a human touch in it, people, for the most part, most people are empathetic. So yeah, you treat others the way you want to be treated. For the most part.
Yeah.
Hopefully 95% of us, I don't know.
95%, yeah. Hopefully, or 99% more. No, that's, I think that's something you say that really hits a good tone. When you look at something, and if you notice the human touch is important. I think, how nowadays we're kind of surrounded by computer generated or AI, artificial intelligence. Like, I know there's a time and place for that, but when you notice something was like drawn or sculpted or or even cooked, I guess, by hand, like there is a bigger appreciation. So
Yeah, it's strange we're in that time where everything could just be fabricated without a human, even music, right?
oh yeah,
Music is in danger of that. Yeah, AI art, you just press a button and it mixes and matches other artists that they've stolen or whatever.
uh,
And then possibly food. I don't know. Is there like, are we at the Jetsons thing now, or
I
just
hope
go?
not. I know, right?
And then here's a box meal. Poof.
You put in the disc and then
Yeah.
the microwave and
Right.
like pop. Oh, it's a
Oh yeah,
pizza.
yeah, like like what was it Back to the Future? Yeah,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and it might be edible, but it's still not the experience you'd get like if someone cooks for you, right?
Yes.
You actually feel loved or special or someone took the time. Whereas if you get a box meal, you might be eating that sad by yourself or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, there's no full emotion or
Yeah, no more sharing, no more
elation.
community. Yeah,
Oh,
just
that's
subsistence, survival. Right.
while there's a lot of beauty and in this case, we're talking about love in what you create, and I see that you bring a lot of love into the community, even with love, and for those who are faith-based, sometimes with love, it's not an easy journey to love. There's always going to be some hardships and trials and tribulations and challenges that you'll face, and I know we kind of talked about that journey, but just seeing the end result, the destination of that moment, just seeing how you have impacted the youth, as an example in this community, it does bring a lot of love and beauty. So thank you for that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that's important. Yeah, you won't experience the love that was put into something that was just, I can't snap. That's good, I can't snap, because if I was Thanos, oh, there you go. Yeah, I can't be Thanos, so I can't snap. Yeah, if you don't know, if you don't experience that, then it's pretty empty. So,
I guess I don't mean to put down this thing, but I saw that they were doing like vinyl wrapping on some of the boxes, like in some areas of like La Jolla and Hillcrest. And I still think it looks nice, but at the same time, they don't last as long, I think, because I could see them getting tagged or ripped like quicker than the ones that are painted. Because again, I think that human touch is gone, so it's like no, whoever is up to no good doesn't feel any kind of empathy from a poster, It's like they feel like they're not hurting anybody, right? They're just taking their angst out.
it's unfortunate, yeah. I guess when you talk about 95%, there is that 5% that likes to have some type of malicious intent.
But sometimes it's just how it is. We could all get to that point. Like if you're not feeling good, sometimes that's all you could express, right? So you have to take care of yourself, so then you can take care of others, right?
And that's awesome that you have some, I don't want to say sympathy, but I guess understanding of that what could be the backstory of why that person did that. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, we just have to continue pressing on and trying to relate with folks and having that connection. So it's amazing. I know we talked earlier, and so as far as Beautifying Mira Mesa, was that the name of the project back then? I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's I guess it's just the Mira Mesa beautification project. That's what we called it in the beginning.
It was like 14 years ago? Or?
Yeah, 14 years ago.
Wow.
When we first started, the police were called on us a lot. They didn't know what we were doing. They thought we were up to no good. But then years later, people understand and welcome it. They honk and then they wave.
That's cool.
Yeah, people like it. So
that's awesome. So that there's more. Yeah, I guess you're right. I think sometimes the community or society will, if they're jumping into the unknown, there's always a sense of apprehension or discomfort. But sometimes we just gotta take the jump and take the risk, and then when you notice, oh, it's actually because it's for the good of our community, then yeah, I definitely see the outcome now. Like, my wife and I, we live in Rancho Bernardo, but we still frequent Mira Mesa because it's just a hop, skip away. And I just love, like, whenever we pass by, like, any area, I feel like you and a lot of folks who've done a lot of the work beautifying Mira Mesa, there's a sense of pride. And then knowing that, a fellow local hero, I don't know if you're okay with me calling you that. That's why I feel, man, and that's why I reached out to you. So, yeah, it's it's awesome. And I think going back to what you just mentioned, with vinyl wrapping, right? I guess it can be temporary because you could easily like do something to that.
Yeah.
But with paint, it's an impression, right, on a material that can last for ages.
Yeah, and you can see the human hand. I think that's what I was getting at. So
Mm-hmm.
if you could see a brushstroke, a person did it, and then you'll either respect it or I don't know, maybe not mess with it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, right. It's like,
But a vinyl wrap, it's like a material. You don't really feel that there's a connection with another person there, right?
and usually isn't it like whenever people use vinyl wrap, it's a printed like
Yeah, it's just printed on like
instead
a
of like.
plastic thing. Yeah.
I guess there's always a time and a place, but as far as like, yeah, definitely nothing can beat the brushstroke because I don't want to say I guess where I'm getting at is if you see too much perfection, it can be a little too, what's the word,
Stagnant or sterile.
yeah, sterile. That's a good way of saying it. It's too clean, too sterile. But I think it's just like all of us. To us, maybe sometimes we feel like, oh, why is my face like not symmetrical, or there may be some imperfections. But I think when you notice there's some human trait, which I think is imperfection, there's beauty that comes out of that. You see perfection in that in some essence.
Yeah, of course. It's like a robot that doesn't make mistakes versus a human who is a culmination of their mistakes, right? And that's the beauty of them because they're still somehow doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that means they've gotten over their mistakes. So it's like they're a living monument to adversity, right?
Oh,
so
hey,
great.
that's a good point. Yeah, they're survivors.
Yeah.
And they're learning. Yeah, I think there's always a beauty in learning and growing.
Yeah. I'm not against robots. I think they're cool, but
Yeah, same here.
Even, yeah,
No offense.
or even like food. Like, let's take it back to the analogy. Yeah, like if it's a little oily or a little spicy, whatever, that's just that person's like
Character.
making that meal. But if it's a box meal, hopefully it's pretty standardized. Like I still like box meals. Like I go to Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah,
it's quick. I'll get it.
Yeah.
And then, but you still want to treat yourself to good food too. That's made by someone
and made with love.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
coming back to that. Yeah, so that's a good point. Yeah, and if you think about it too, even that boxed lunch or even artificial intelligence, like it was initially thought up of by a human. Ultimately. So, yeah, human interaction is a necessity. So, I guess I want to backtrack. You've been doing this for a long time, and of course, unfortunately, within the 14-year span of you doing art, there was unfortunately the pandemic, and I think you brought up a good point how it's been affecting just us in general, and also a lot of businesses. I guess any thoughts that you wanted to share about that?
I guess I'm just hopeful for this point. But during the pandemic, it was hard to see the hope.
It was
the point that you could hope, and then you think right around the corner it's going to end, and then it just goes on. So it dragged. It made you also feel very weary, right?
Yes, it was heavy for sure.
Yeah, and then if you have a business, I mean, I have an art business. It was really scary. I had to keep pivoting. Sometimes the schools are closed. I mean, that's where my students would take my art classes. So it was really hard. And then seeing some of the shops around here before the pandemic, every place was open, and then there's so many people frequenting all the businesses. And then out of nowhere, all these businesses were shuttering and like left and right, every year a few more fall out. So all of that's pretty depressing too. And then, and some of us made it, I guess, pivoting, but some of us didn't. And then that equates to people losing their livelihoods or their dreams, right? I mean, people understand them as like the label of the food place, but they don't see that there's lots of people underneath that.
I'm glad that you bring that up, and I think this is why I'm doing this project, Operation Fulfill and Gerard Loves Life. People just see the product or what's presented to them, but like you said, they don't notice that there was a risk involved for that person to create that product or to do something about it, and they're risking their livelihood and their time and even finances, at some point.
Mental health as well. all the
Mental health.
worry. Yeah.
Yeah, and since you mentioned the pandemic, it's definitely has caused, a mental toll on a lot of us. And then, like you said, just coming back to the norm and things, it's still dragging. So,
Mm.
but I think, I'm glad that you brought that up because hopefully this and I actually see your Instagram. You definitely you put a spotlight on local businesses because we do got to support folks and notice that, hey, there's there are people that are behind that business. A friend of mine that I recently interviewed said that, like, pretty much majority of your project is, or your business is, majority of or a big percentage of that is you, and you're selling you, I guess, in that case. So, and if people notice that there is a person that is trying to invest love, time, effort, money into that business, hopefully that connection of knowing that there's a person will I guess people will appreciate it more. So
Yeah, can only hope.
yeah, for sure. And then, you did mention mental health was took a toll on things. I guess, if you wanted to share your experiences and
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just had a lot of worries and then stresses, and it was hard to manage. Plus, the nature of the pandemic, we had to isolate. So then that, I mean, being with people kind of helps with your mental health. So that got cut out too. And then I think at some point I was meeting some people that were desperate during the pandemic or whatever, and then I guess I had this bad idea of people in general after that, and then I further retreated, I guess. I've only been starting to go out and seek more people with like values, and
it's like a like-mindedness almost.
like other people that just enjoy what I enjoy. Simple as that. And then
For
you
sure.
guys connect. It's like you're a child, and you're like, "Hey, you want to play with you want to play wall ball? You like wall ball? Let's do it."
That's
It's so simple, but
some commonalities
yeah.
definitely like bring us closer together. Yeah.
Right. And then as adults, like, people think you can't do that, but you can. You just have to go out there, right?
For sure.
But again, when I was during the pandemic or whatever, I got really depressed, and then that made it hard. Like, it's like the serotonin levels are low, so it's not like you not wanting to, but it becomes this very hard thing to do. So I started taking antidepressants, and then I got a really good therapist, and then I'm feeling more alive than I've ever felt in a while. So
Wow.
that's really helpful.
Well, I commend you, and I think that's something I'm also learning along this journey, getting to know folks like you, who, on the outside, you notice all the successes, but I think that's another thing that folks need to realize, that the journey isn't easy. That's for sure. And there's a lot of, something you said too, there's a lot of pivots you need to do, and just, if something isn't working, you just gotta let go of that, whatever's holding you back, and try to progress in life. And thank you for taking the steps necessary to help, your mental health and your well-being. We do need that.
Yeah.
It's always good to have support, and I want you to know that, I'm glad that you opened the door for me to connect with you today, and I would love to, like, still stay connected, because I think, like you said, ultimately I think folks just want to feel connection, and I think this is why I do this podcast too. Is there is a joy when you feel a connection with someone, and in this case with Leo Angelo art, right? In this case, like you said, like, even though there is a time for solitude and isolation, just to re-energize, ultimately you want to have that human interaction, or that connection with folks, especially those who share a common ground with you. So
Yeah, yesterday I went to the Natural History Museum, and I met some other artists, and we were just drawing together. Again, that feels like you're like in recess, like you're in third grade, whatever, and you're like, "Hey, you want to draw with me?" It's fun, but we're adults. And then just end up talking about everything till late night, and then
oh wow,
and go out to eat, and and then you just feel full after, not just the
Satisfied,
food,
right?
but
Yeah.
like inside. Yeah. So
Elated, yeah.
yeah, and I think people maybe can underestimate that, or want to choose my words.
Oh no, for sure.
Sometimes you can hang out with people and then you don't feel that, but then you think that's what you have and you keep it going, and then maybe you'll feel it in little ways here and there. But I think you really have to go out and seek this, like for whatever your interests are, so then it encourages and promotes growth. Because sometimes people don't grow with you and they're in a comfortable place with you, which is fine, but you still have other needs.
No, for sure. And yeah, that's a good point. You're right. Like when you hang out with folks, like there is more fulfillment when you grow together instead of stay stagnant. Unfortunately, there are some times where one example I'm thinking of is crab mentality.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of that, like where if you're going up the ladder, there are folks who are like, "What are you doing? Like, why aren't you staying with us?" That can unfortunately happen, but yeah, you want to be with folks who help you be the best version of yourself, and
Right.
and are rooting for you, and will at the same time, like if they notice something is off, they'll be like, "Hey, out of love, I think you could do better," and it's good to be in that kind of community.
Right.
If you guys are wondering, we're in Leo's studio. It's just a beautiful environment, and you definitely feel some joy. Speaking of, you want to be in an environment of joy and love and elation. I was thinking, the word community comes into mind, what you're talking about. And I know you work with a lot of the community, particularly the youth and other folks who, want to show an interest in making art. I notice in community, there's the word unity in it, and you want to feel like a type of unity, with folks that you get to do stuff with, and you guys are united, and like you said, your guards down, and like, oh, we can draw together and just talk about anything and everything.
Yeah, feels good. And speaking of community, it's great to teach the young artists in our community, because I feel like they're just like me, and then some of them, time went so fast. Some of them I had them when they're like really small. And,
so you have to see a progression.
Yeah, and then they're big now and they're good. And I think even one of my students, his name's also Ryan, but he painted those frogs on Mira Mesa Boulevard, and it was really good. Yeah, by the new shopping area. And so yeah, my students are I guess the next guys.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's fun.
Mind blown. Oh, I'm gonna get some B-roll. Thanks for bringing that up. That's actually one of my favorite pieces that I saw in Mira Mesa. That those frogs were those tree frogs, or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they were tiny, but
yeah, I think he's in the environmental club in the high school now, Mira Mesa.
Wow.
So that he's I guess painting his truth.
There you go. No, that's a good thing you point out. Again, it kind of brings me back to that thought that I said earlier. Whatever you create, that's pretty much your identity. That's your truth, like you said. And I'm glad that you bring this up too. Like, you've been doing this for so long that you kind of see a legacy like happening in the making. And I hope that brings some pride in what you do. And if anything, a reminder of why you're doing this. Like, you got to see like these tiny folks, these kids grow up, and now they're like still doing that spark that you helped bring in them, that art, that creativity. So thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah, it's been nice seeing them grow.
And then probably future collaborations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna show this. When people see me using this iPad, I don't use a script when I interview folks. I'm just using this to make sure that it's recording. So the good thing with this camera, this 360 camera, and the reason why I use a 360 camera is because I don't have three cameras to use as equipment. Like, when you see an interview, people have like usually a wide angle shot and then other cameras like pointing towards. The cool thing about this, it can actually you can reframe it, post edit, and this kind of indicates to me if it's still recording. there have been some technical difficulties where like past 30 minutes it'll stop recording and we're good. We're good. So
Cool.
just a heads up. And for folks who are watching this, if I do keep this in our video, yeah, this is why I have this. So it's just a monitor, literally. So, there's a lot of great artwork in the community. And I know, congratulations, by the way. I know you were commissioned in Carmel Valley to do a piece there recently.
Yeah, they have me doing their whole community's power boxes, so I know how to do that. So they hired me, which is nice. And then I think there's maybe like 7 of them, so I'm just doing it one at a time.
Okay. Yeah, no, it reminds me. I know a friend of mine that says like, oh, you can't hurry art because you want to always make sure every stroke has love and creative energy in it. So yeah, from all the stuff you've done, what's one piece? There's probably, I know it's infinite right now. Just seeing how many pieces you've done, but is there one particular that stands out in your to you? Like you're like, wow, I did that, and that's awesome.
Not sure about like one piece individually standing out, but I do like what I'm painting currently because I think it's like, did we talk about like a person versus a robot, the culmination of all their mistakes or whatever? Yeah, art's like that. You make ugly art in the beginning, right? So those are mistakes, maybe.
Rough drafts.
Yeah. And then as you progress, the mistakes, you barely see them because then you get better.
That's right, yeah.
And so I think I'm really into my current work now. I did one just not too far from here, just boots. And it's like a Hokusai's wave, but I made it more like warm in the background. It's a mural just that way. Boots and Capricorn.
Okay, and thanks for pointing these points of interest or the cross streets so I can do B-roll footage later.
Yeah, and all the roads of Mira Mesa is busy, but people treat Capricorn as like a busy back road, I guess.
Oh yeah.
So it's nice because I think people could see it because someone commissioned me for the side of their gate. And and I think what I'm doing at Carmel Valley, it's like where I want my work to go. It's more like loose brush strokes and it's hard to explain. I don't. Can I show that?
Oh yeah.
Whatever the subject matter is, I guess.
It's actually
I'm painting this with my student. It's not done yet, but yeah, I guess this is how I paint. Whatever the subject matter is, I like to leave my brush strokes. I like to have really dark values to make the light values stand out.
I see.
So that's, I guess, what I do.
The intensity of light and dark.
Yeah,
I see that.
the contrast.
Oh yeah, that's the right term. It's been a while since I took art. I wanted to give a background too. I love to draw. I think you might inspire me to get back into that.
Yeah, it's super fun.
I see. Would you say it's kind of what's the right term? I think of the artist Caravaggio. Would that be some sort of inspiration?
Yeah, that's he plays the darks really well. Caravaggio.
Yeah, and then he intensifies like the light when it hits the subject. So
yeah, and Rembrandt's one of my favorites. And I guess a lot of artists in history, they are inspired by each other too. So
yeah, there's always some sort of where there's a paper trail or.
Yeah, they study each other over time. Yeah. But and then parts of the other artist gets into another artist, and then that's their style, right?
I do see that. Yeah, and I guess also in music and
the influence.
Food too. Yeah, there's always an influence. Yeah,
that's how the tradition goes, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess in this case, you talking about like seeing a lot of your students who were youth at the time, now seeing them like getting into high school and older. Just seeing them continue, I guess, in this case, an influence from your end.
Yeah, it's fun. I think you were mentioning before getting into like your dreams, it's not all just like you don't just step into it and it's all good. There's a lot of work involved, and then it's a lifestyle change. And even if it's not building your skills, that's like where it starts. And then also having enough trust in yourself to make it into something. And then besides trust, you have to spend the time and the effort and study like how your business can work, and then the trial and error.
It's true.
And that's not the words sound like easy even, but that could take years. And then some people might be like, yeah, I can do that. No, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a finger snap, that's for sure.
Yeah, it takes a lot. And yeah, hopefully you have a good therapist.
Oh yeah, no, I think, and it's good you bring that up too. And I think I was telling Leo earlier. So chronologically, I still have to find out how I'm going to be posting these podcasts. Whoever's watching YouTube, thankfully you guys are watching this so you can see what Leo was talking about earlier with one of his pieces. Just a heads up, I don't know what order it's going to be coming out yet, but as far as how I'm shooting interviews right now, so right after Leo, I'm meeting up with my friend who's in mental health, who's a therapist himself, and there is definitely an importance, and I think thankfully there is more of an awareness in this day and age that, it has to be treated, it has to be observed. And I think, thank you for bringing that up and making it a call to action, if you will, to take care of your mental health, because
super important.
Yeah, I think there's always a necessity to have support, and like you said, like to have people that will love you and be there by your side, but ultimately it is you who takes a step to take care of your mental health and do what it takes to help you survive, and especially with this day and age. So
right.
Yeah, thank you again for just taking the time to hang out and for letting me go to your studio. I was gonna say, actually, you said you can actually take classes here too, or?
Yeah, I teach art classes here after school for children and privately with adults, like in the evening usually.
Oh, okay.
Unless they have some mornings here and there that are open.
Okay, like if time permits for both
like
you
schedule.
and them.
Yeah.
And thank you, by the way. I have to put this out on blast. The reason why I also reached out to Leo, because besides having some connections in some way or form, like in groups, Leo was so kind enough. So he knows that I'm active at Good Shepherd, our church here in the community. We actually had a paint and wine night. That was fun. Yeah, he actually got all the families together, and we did some painting, had fun, and I didn't drink wine because I'm diabetic. I can't have alcohol, but I just remember it was a good time. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was fun. That was before the pandemic.
That was 5 years ago. So
it goes quick. Time, right?
And I'm glad that after all these years, we still have a interaction, and just what we were talking about, and just in general. Thank you for. I know you're a busy guy and you have a lot going on, and I want you to know that, I'm a fan and I'm here to support you as a brother, a friend, and I want to be a patron, so I'll probably reach out to you. I'll DM you sometime.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I hope whoever sees this, hopefully you get to see what Leo does, and there's a lot of value, especially the value of love in what he does, and so hopefully you can be a contributor to what he's creating for this community, for the world in general. Sorry, making it sound grand. No intimidation here, but you're definitely making an impact, and I hope, I wish to continue seeing you progress in things and grow, and if anything, you're an inspiration to me to continue this project, and hopefully we can, continue making an impact, a positive impact of love and creativity and just, constant joy, and just, like you said, just, even though we're adults now, we're grown-ups, there's always a time and place to just, you probably heard that term, faith like a child. I'm not trying to be too religious, but I feel like we need to live like children time to time, because, there is just pure bliss, pure joy when you know that there are no boundaries, there's no need to have a guard, and just be yourself.
For sure, yeah. I always joke with my students, because then they get really crazy, and then I'm like, must be nice to be a child. Like I tell them, like, yeah, don't grow up. Yeah, you got to pay bills. Like, and then I think it's funny because I think they're really smart, and then all the jokes are on the internet. But I think they get it.
Yeah.
But I think they don't understand like how much you really have to do. There's a flip. Like when you're an adult, you're on your own.
Yeah, there's definitely some growing pains. I guess that's the right term, right? Yeah, they don't realize the magnitude it could have sometimes. You're right.
Yeah, but it is important. Now, then when you're an adult, you have to take care of yourself as if you remember who you are as a child. I mean, that shows us who we really are inside, right?
That's right.
And we want to keep ourselves, I guess the word is fulfilled, but happy and what. But if we forget and we think we just have to keep working and pay those bills and do all the drudgery and professionalism, I think our inner selves suffer, and I think that leads to the mental health stuff, and anyone can fall into that trap,
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, like, granted, for sure, we do have those grown-up things that we need to do, and, we need to face them, right? But if you don't have that time and that place to let out your inner child, then, yeah, I think embracing your inner child and having those moments of joy, it's not necessarily to escape those everyday things, but it helps you to recharge. And when you have to, like, okay, I need to face, reality and punch it in the face, you'll have that energy because you had that inspiration, that moment.
I think it's already happening. Like, there's a wave of people interested in that. I think that's why pickleball is like so big now.
Yeah, that's right.
People want to be with other people and then like play some kind of game, right? Yeah. So I think that's what's happening there. And if you go to a lot of meetups, people are more open to engage in like that kind of silly way, like hey, you wanna enjoy something in recess, and then you just light up and be like, sure, yeah.
Like you said, yeah. You want to play?
Right. And I think that's nice. Maybe our society's leaning towards that way now.
That's good. No, that's a good movement. I know you being out in the world and interacting with folks and observing that's great to hear. And and hopefully folks that are watching this, hopefully after you watch this, you'll call up your longtime friend or whoever you just met and say, hey, you wanna play?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do something. Let's go on an adventure.
Oh man, and I have my sketchbook handy. It's okay. I was telling you I was hanging out with these artists, and
that's right.
We just doodle together. It's so much fun. I think I told you I retreated during the pandemic, and I'm only starting to go out. And yeah, there's no replacement for the laughter and like that kind of silly, goofy, stupid things that happen, and it's you have to put yourself in that environment now because you're not a kid. You can't be put in play dates, and you're not surrounded with everyone your age all the time. You have to gotta seek space. Have the space still, but you gotta seek it out for yourself, or things get messy in the head.
I've done a few of these already, and I think, there's definitely a lot of words of wisdom, knowledge that has, inspired me. But I think the best moments and just like how we are right now is just the feeling, the connection, the bond is, and you said the laughter that you share. It's irreplaceable. It's more lasting, from anything. You can't replace that, when you're doing other things. Like if you do it by yourself, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Well, Leo, thank you again, and I guess we'll close it here. But and this is awesome. I have to say, of all the interviews I've done, it's been cutting off at the 30-minute mark. I don't know if it's because I got a new SD card too, but still going.
Oh, good.
This is a success. First successful. All the interviews have been successful, but this one I didn't have to worry about it stopped recording. So it'll be good for me because I don't need to cut this up and be like, oh, I need to get the other video and try to make sure it looks it looks right. But thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for. I like how you use the word fulfillment in our conversation. Hopefully this will inspire folks to, fulfill what they love to do, fulfill life, and just grow and continue lifting off.
Can I do a shameless plug?
Oh yes, please do. I forgot to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
LeoAngeloArt.com is my website, but if you want free how to draw videos, speaking of fulfillment, I make them for my students. It's just like really quick, like 5-minute how to draw videos. Like we sketch first, then we draw. I have all kinds of stuff on there. So it's just Leo Angelo Art on YouTube.
Oh, you have it. Oh, okay.
It's just a small thing.
I'll be sure to look at the description below. I'll be sure to tag that. And thanks for doing that, because I forget to do that whenever I talk with folks. I forget the plugin. But what are your handles like on the social media realms?
Oh, I'm LeoAngelo_art on Instagram, and if you want to see our community box project, that's also Mira Mesa Art, just one word, on Instagram. And I don't know where else I'm in, but I think those are the main ones.
Okay, yeah. So be sure to check out the YouTube channel, his personal, not personal, but it's his individual work, and then as Leo said, the community work that he's doing. This guy's doing great things, and please support and continue to follow along. And yeah, if you ever feel like you would love to be a patron and you feel inspired to have something in your collection, if you're a collector of art, please feel free to reach out to Leo, and there is great value in everything he does, and I might consider, of course I have to run it by my wife, but I'll be sure to reach out to him one day too. All right, all, thank you, bro. All right.